Alright, so doing a quick rundown for my Bring a Trailer listing, and just kind of going to go over my car, some of the stuff on it, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. So it is a 1972 351 Cleveland factory 4-speed Cobra Jet Gran Torino Sport Q code car. Main thing on this car is the original numbers matching block is in the car, and I'll go over the specs on it as I walk around, but I'm kind of running out of daylight, so here we go. So start off with the good. So doing a general walk around of the car. Basically, I found this car sitting in an Iowa barn in Dana, Iowa, off of an old Torino group. And this particular car had been sitting in a barn since late 85, early 86, and it was kind of left to rot. I drug it out where it had been sitting for some time, and I did the idiotic thing of restoring one of these cars. And it honestly took me 9 years to piece this car back together. Car is a little bit dirty on the front because I just did about a 250-mile trip on it yesterday. This car is built to drive. I also live in rural Kansas, and when I want to go somewhere, if I go to Kansas City or I go up to Omaha, Nebraska, it's hour and a half, 2 hours each way. So she is built to drive. Front end, if you notice anything, it's missing the bumper bolts, and the bumpers were smooth and triple chrome plated back in 2011 by a shop that's no longer around, but they got rid of all the nasty bumper bolts. They filled in the jack points on here. Factory rammer hood. Fenders on the car I found through one of the Torino groups years ago, and I drove out to Niagara Falls, Canada, and these were NOS fenders that were sitting in the back of a Ranchero in Niagara Falls, Canada, just north of the border by Buffalo, New York, I guess. On the hood scoop itself, you can see, unfortunately, where they were tightened down a little bit too much at some point, and that pop metal just sucked in, and I've never bothered to try and straighten it. But kind of walking around the car, just kind of get a general view of it. I put this car back together because originally I was into Ford Elites, and then I come across this, and I like the fastback body style. Main issues on this car, the paint is from the car was stripped to bare steel, pulled off the frame. It was stripped to bare steel up top. The underside of the car is still wearing factory yellow paint, and it's still got some of its asphalt coating. I sandblasted the frame. It's coated in Pour 15, and it's held up pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's held up, and when I've had to, I've touched it up. But big issues on this car is going to be the whole bottom side of the car, from the body line down, has been coated in rocker guard. We used a 3M product to coat the front edge of the fender from that body line down, and then this whole section. The biggest issue is years ago, I put this car into a ditch on a gravel road. Stupidity. I'll post a picture of it here, but it went down to the rocker guard, but it didn't go down to bare. But I was going to coat this cover this up with vinyl, but I will let the new owner worry about that. It's the same thing down here where there are paint chips on the bottom half of the car. That's tar. Haven't cleaned that off, but I'm just going to note it. Now, something else worth noting. Anybody that knows these cars 72, 73, and actually, yes, in 74, you could order these cars with a Cobra Jet 351 Cleveland 4-barrel. 72 got the big valve. Early 73's got the big valve, and then mid-year 73 they went to the small valve 4-barrel Clevelands. But this car is still running its original numbers matching block. It's been punched out 30 over. Every fastener in the block is ARP. We did regular bolts. I didn't do studs because I wanted to, if the heads have to come off, I wanted to be able to pull the heads off without pulling the block. Again, back of the car, this is the rocker guard, the 3M rocker guard, where this happened years ago, and I've kind of just rolled with it. Again, sorry, it's a little dirty. It's got some, it's been used. This car's gone on multiple power tours. Real bad issues on the body, what I consider bad. When I built the drivetrain in 2023, I had issues. And the first rebuild on the Cobra Jet, it ate the crank at 39 miles. First machine shop and engine builder screwed up, didn't do things right, it was too tight, it ate the mains. So, had to have the engine rebuilt. After I got the engine rebuilt by Glenn at Dr. Z's Rod Shop up in the Detroit area, Detroit, Michigan, this thing had more get up and go than it ever had in the entire life. And the biggest issue I had is on both quarter panels, roof skin was replaced. I replaced the roof skin early on because this was originally a vinyl top car and it had issues. I had a friend that ran a body shop and he helped me fix this quarter panel. Lower was a Tabco quarter panel replacement. The other side is still factory, but this was completely welded shut. Stripped of all lead, then it was welded shut, and then I went over it with all metal, kitty hair fiberglass, like you typically do on a repair like this, and then it was smoothed. I spent 2 years block sanding this car because I wanted it smooth. Is it perfect? I don't know. We'll let the new owner decide that. But biggest issue, aside from the stress cracks at the top of the quarter, I've got a small stress crack that developed down here. I don't know if something hit the car at some point, but there is like a dent here, and all I've done is cover it up. But when I welded this quarter in, it's welded along this seam to the factory piece here, so it's a case of just letting people know what the deal is. Again, on the rear bumper, same thing. Triple chrome plated back around 2011 time frame. Bumper was straightened, smooth, jack holes welded up, bumper bolts welded to the bumper so you don't have the bumper bolts sticking out here and here. I mean, it's smooth. I think it's one of the best features of the car. Metal rock stainless tips, 2.5-inch full exhaust system, bent up summer of 22, 2.5-inch MagnaFlow stainless steel knockoffs, X-pipe. It sounds good, runs good. Car is tinted 20% all the way around. So if you're someplace where you have issues with tint laws, that's up to you. I spent multiple years taking this to the 1320 video ice cream cruise and had a fun time with it. I'll show the interior next. Oh, yeah, and we'll go along to the driver's side. So obviously, because the car's been driven, there are some little rock chips down here. And I've tried to touch stuff up, but it's the case. This car's been used. The worst spot of rust on this whole car is right here. I did patch this door. I couldn't tell you. It was probably mid-2000s, late 2000s when I patched this door. with a small patch in here off of another door skin that I had stripped and cleaned. It is bubbling just a small amount of rust through here. I do have another door with an NOS door skin that I can throw in with this car for a little bit of cash if somebody wants to buy it. I mean, that's fairly enough easy metal to fix, but I do have a NOS door skin welded to another door frame that I can, sell if somebody's interested in it. Interior wise, I'll start off. So dash lights are all set up with LEDs to go with blue. Pulled out the ammeter. Ammeter in this cluster was toast, didn't work, so I put in a voltmeter mounted down here. In this upper spot is a dual wideband gauge. Unfortunately, I have not gotten around to hooked up. I put it in the car about a year or two ago. I just never gotten it hooked up. It's all welded. It just needs to be finished wired up. I just have not had time with everything in my personal life going on. Just to show the current miles on the odometer, it's 135. When I got the car, it had just barely over 103,000 miles when I drug it out of the barn in Iowa. So most of the miles on this car has been put doing partial hot rod power tours or going on, I've done 2 full power tours, 2010 and 2025. So transmission. Originally, this car was a wide ratio 4-speed top loader, and it is currently sporting a Tremec TKX 5-speed, and I'd have to look up the specs. I'll post the specs on it for the listing. Hurst shifter. This is the original handle that was on the top loader when I got the car. Normally, these originally had a ball style shifter. Of course, that shifter stays. Stereo system for this car. I have, if I can find my key, what do I do with my key? Keys in the other pocket. So, I'm going to lose audio when I turn this on because one issue I have is the microphone is not working for this stereo. Do not know what the issue is. I think the cable's just bad off the radio. I just have not gotten around to fixing it. I'm going to turn this on to show what the head unit looks like. With this particular head unit, with the particular head unit, I shut it off. With this head unit in this car, it's a Sony, I forget what the model is, but it's got a 200 watt Class D amplifier built into the head unit itself. It works pretty good, Bluetooth. Only issue I have is occasionally it seems to act up and randomly shut off, and I don't know if it's a case of I ran the power wiring for it, not really sure what the issue is, but it'll stay on, but every once in a while I'll get a backfeed beep through it. I thought about pulling it, but again, this is a case where it's in the car and it's going to go with the car. Dash is out of a later 70s Thunderbird because I wanted a factory gray dash. This dash has been repainted. When I had the car, when I was wiring up for the MSD ignition and I removed the factory resistor wire for the factory ignition in these cars because it's got a MSD 6 ALD in it. I removed the resistor wire because it's not needed anymore. The dash overall is pretty good shape. It has been cut for a modern DIN radio. You know, it is what it is. So, worst part on the dash here was there is a stress crack that's been I've tried to repair it, but it's got this plate here just as reinforcement. As far as the interior goes, front seats are Lincoln Mark 7 buckets that have been reupholstered. We did that years ago. It's got a mix of Ford interior material for, I want to say this is mid 90s Thunderbird, 94, 90, 92, 94, somewhere in there. Gray interior. We just reupholstered it. And then the back seat is out of a, I want to say Grand Marquis or Ford Crown Vic, late 90s, early 2000s armrest. I live in the Midwest, y'all, and humidity sucks, so I have a cloth interior. I didn't go leather because didn't feel the need. So, windows on these cars roll down into the quarters. Really great for when you want to take it out and have the windows down, not get buffeted by wind. Doors shut. You can hear typical Ford 70s. You don't have to slam them. It shuts nice. Biggest issue over here with this door is I believe the rollers are a little bit worn, or the guides on this particular window. Because there is a guide here, I typically have to shut it by pushing against the glass. And I'd rather just be upfront and honest about it, that it needs to be adjusted, but I've been doing that for years and haven't been worried about it. Some guys are going to care about this, some won't, but this kind of gives you an idea. This is where the car has racked up most of its miles the time I've had it, since I really started driving it. I started driving it 2008, 2009 time period, where it was the Joe Dirt phase, where it was just DTM primer and no side glass, no back glass, windshield. But rolling stock on the car is US Mag 18-inch daisies, and I believe these were 18 by 8 fronts. Front tires are 255/45 18 Nito 555 series, and then the rears are 18 by 8.5, and these are 295/45 18 series rubber. 295s in the back to make these cars. You can kind of see just how nice fat meat. These ride good. They've got enough sidewall. They're not super low profile, so if you hit a pothole, it doesn't take out the wheel. Pause it here so I can pop the hood open. This is one of those little details. The Thrush logo here. When I pulled this car out of the barn it had been sitting in for about 17 years, this logo was sitting here on the hood. So it felt like it was only right after the car got repainted, the Thrush logo went back on, because this car originally had Thrush glass backs on it. So drivetrain wise, I'll just start from the front and move all the way back. Motorcraft battery was replaced, I want to say 2022. Local Ford dealership near me here in Kansas. AC system is something I've worked on and off. Tried to upgrade and try to maintain the factory system. My personal opinions are what they are. I've tried to maintain the factory system. I would honestly gut it and put a vintage air in here, but the air in this car does work. I replaced the heater core in the car in 23 because the factory heater core did go out in the car. It started leaking, so I replaced it when they finally became available again. I believe it was a Four Seasons heater core, but stock replacement. Currently, heater control cable for the head unit. If you shift it all the way over to heat, the heat output is not really good because the cable is somehow messed up. When you try to put it to heat, it doesn't give you a lot of heat, but it keeps cold air in the car, so it is what it is. As far as on the drivetrain goes, AC, it's got a parallel flow condenser. It is running 134A. It is a Champion 3-core radiator with dual 14-inch spall fans, and it is wired up off of a thermostat off of the heater core or the heater hose, the thermostat housing. It is also wired with a manual bypass underneath the dash to turn it on when the air is running. I did rewire it when I redid the air conditioning system when I went from the CVF Raptor system, or when I went from the CVF Beast system to the Raptor system. I switched to this newer style compressor that came with the Raptor system, so I had to redo the hoses again. So I do have a trinary switch in line here with the system, so somebody can set it up and wire it up where the pressure switch is running off that system, so it'll run the cooling fans when you kick the air on. I just have never bothered to wire it. It's sitting there ready to be wired, but that'll be for somebody else. Wiring here, car audio. It's got, I believe 4-gauge cable running to the trunk. It goes down under and in through the floor by the passenger and through the channels, and it goes into the trunk to feed the amp rack for the audio system. Alternator on this, originally on the old system I had a 3G. With the upgrade to the Raptor belt drive system, it has a GM one wire, I believe it's 140 amp alternator, but it had some teething issues, but the system's been pretty good. It proved itself really well going on. We did Hot Rod Power Tour this year and did another trip out to Colorado, and I put probably, I don't know, maybe in the past 2 years, I've put probably 6,000 miles in the car, driving it, going on trips and stuff. Once I got everything squared away with the second rebuild. Factory original numbers matching block, Cleveland block. It's been punched out 30 over, forged flat tops, everything ARP inside. It is a factory 4-bolt main block. Blue Thunder valve covers, Harlan Sharp roller rockers. It does have a roller lifter conversion in it. Edelbrock, it's 1913 AVS2 800 CFM carb, RPM air gap intake, MSD, full MSD ignition, and I'm trying to think. It gets up and it moves. If you watch any of my videos, I have a bunch of footage that I've been putting together for my YouTube channel that I still have to do videos on, but I'll get to it eventually someday. But this car will get up and move. I have had it up over about 130, 135 miles an hour, but I haven't been able to go that fast because there is a little bit of vibration after I had switched the rear ends, and the rear end needs to be adjusted. I just have not gotten around to it. The rear end has fully rebuilt 1976 9-inch out of a later 76 Ford Torino, big bearing 9-inch. It's running disc brakes, or not disc brakes, factory disc brakes were pulled out. The front brakes are something I put together off of a 2000 Crown Vic police car. It has roughly 12.5-inch dual piston calipers up front. The rotors are about 2.4, 2.5, I don't know, it's roughly not quite 12.5-inch rotor up front with a dual piston caliper. Rear brakes are factory Torino 76. They're, I believe, 11-inch by 2-inch drum brakes. With this car, it's been able to haul it down without too much issues from over 120. So, yes, they're drum brakes. No, they're not disc brakes, but it does the job. Rear end has an Eaton True Track differential in it. 370 gears with the TKX. At 70 miles an hour, it'll cruise roughly about 2,400 RPM, fifth gear, and it just lopes along. At 65, it just sits there and it just idles along. Right now, idle on the car, when it sits in idles, because of that GM1 wire, it idles around, I have it set to idle around like 1100 RPM, so that way the alternator is always charging, it doesn't dip, especially when you're sitting at a light with the electric fans running. TKX, on this particular car, the clutch is something Modern Driveline put together. The clutch package is good for 450 horsepower. The engine was dynoed with the cam. The cam it's got like a 540 cam. It's got an MPG heads, spec'd out the cam, the original roller cam lifters and custom length push rods. And he also supplied a timing chain set. One of their deals. Sprocket, multi-adjustable, and then the chains came out of Germany instead of like a lot of the junk chains that are coming out of India and China now that are just garbage. This chain, the double roller in this thing is from, he said that these come out of, he sources his roller chains out of Germany for timing chains. So, on the TKX, Ford box, 26 spline. It is running the factory, I can't see anything because it's too dark and I apologize. It is running the all factory mechanical linkage in here, and factory top loader bell housing. Run out was actually near perfect on the TKX when I did the dial indicator on it, which is pretty critical with the TKXs. New drive shaft was done by a drive shaft company out of Topeka, and I had that drive shaft basically balanced to match if I wanted to spin this car at like 7,000 RPM. He spun the drive shaft up considerably higher because he could, and I just said I just want it balanced in case I spin the engine. Right now, MSD ignition is a 6ALD, and the rev limiter is set to 5,900 just to protect the engine. On the dyno, I did a dyno run on Power Tour last year just to kind of get an idea, feel for the car. At the tires, it was about 340 horsepower. At the crank, it's roughly probably 390, but I let out of it. I didn't keep going. The spring package in these heads is whatever came from Edelbrock, because they're Edelbrock RPM Performer heads. Spring package is good to about 6,500, and I didn't want to worry about floating valves, and I figured I'm just going to protect it, but it'll run and shift, and she runs. Mechanical fuel pump, Rob MC is their street pump on that with their regulator. And then I've got, can't really see it in here, unfortunately, but there is their filter down here. But tried to kind of go over the car. I suppose I should open the trunk. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Here's another example. Just, doing power tours over the years. And it's, Power Tour was the first year I ever went down there, and the car was in Joe Dirt primer stage. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, yes. Yeah. So another fun feature on this one is the key. really have to have two hands to do this, but so the trunk is a working man's trunk. This is a driver. Subwoofer box does eat up a ton of space in the trunk. It has two Kenwood 12s in it. They sound fabulous if you're into bass. I've loved it. Because of the front brake package being off 2000 Crown Vic, this car cannot run 15-inch wheels. You, at a bare minimum, have to run a 16-inch wheel capable of clearing a 2000 Ford Crown Vic front brake system. So you cannot run 15-inch wheels on this car. So whoever buys it, please keep that in mind. You cannot go back. Unfortunately, I don't have a light on here. Let me see. Okay, so I have light now. So yeah, this is a box I built for two 12-inch subs to fit in this space because I like carrying a factory spare. Car has factory, and it's Crown Vic Steely under there. This is the amp rack. I'll be honest with you, the two monoblock Kenwood amps, they still work great after all this time, with a pair of caps to help feed them to cushion the impact to the alternator. This 4-channel amp, I do not believe it at some point something went out in it. I've never bothered to take it out. I'm sorry, but it's just going to go with it because it matches the other two amps. Maybe you can fix it. I'm assuming a diode went because these amps are probably 20 years old, but they still work good. Basic stuff, factory style rug, carpet in here. This stuff I will clean out. For you lawn chair guys, we have always kept our chairs just tucked into the quarter panel here for years. But you know, you can see the inside of the car. Everything was coated. Can't really see over here, but you could see, as an example, here is the seam where the quarter panel was welded, and then it was seam sealed from the backside, and then everything is coated in, I believe we did pour 15 on the whole inside of these quarter panels, inside of the channels of the doors. Both doors were sandblasted and cleaned. Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah, these rear decks, just 6x9 Kenwoods, front door speakers, your typical 5 by, I think 5 1/4 or 5 1/2, whatever the stock style speaker is for these Torinos. Again, I've used this car. I've driven it. I mean, hell, I'll take this thing to Walmart, but I keep stuff in the trunk because I use it like a driver. I've never bothered to finish it out, but hey. Interior wise, sorry, I'm jumping around. It's how I work. Carpet. It's a gray interior. Just dark gray carpet I put in this car years ago when I first got it done. Carpet fitment. It's not glued down because I wanted to show this. But underneath this car, the floor was cleaned, and then I went to Summit Racing and I got the butyl sound deadener, and then I went to DEI, and then I got rolls of DEI boom mat, to their Thinsulate stuff, to help with the heat in this car, and it made a huge difference. Is the carpet perfect? No, it's not perfect. It's seen a lot of miles and a lot of use. Somebody could probably get a set of carpet for this from ACC, but again, that'll be up to whoever buys her. I did have, when I had the dash out, I did sand the dash, primer it, repaint it. It's not perfect, but I used SAM to get as close to the factory gray color because I just wanted it gray. These door panels are the factory sport door panels, and it's, you know, it is what it is. She's my baby, but it's time to move on to a new caretaker. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, one stupid thing, just because when I drive, have a clip here, so that way if you're driving, so this thing isn't sitting there flopping down like this, it's hanging up there. And yes, I have occasionally smacked my head on that, but it is what it is. It's a small price to pay. Now, regarding the headliner in this car, we had done insulation in this headliner, and when I had replaced this windshield, I don't know how many years ago, but we had to replace the front windshield because it got damaged. The headliner did not get really stretched real good. We also had the back glass out of the car for the tint, and the headliner is a little floppy, not gonna lie. Somebody that does interiors probably might know better. Is it 100% immaculate show car? No. But it's been pretty damn good for all these years. But I built this car to drive and enjoy. Yeah, so this deal, kind of give you an idea. This is the breakdown of the car when it was built. This car was ordered with pretty much every Go Fast goodie except for an open rear end. Don't know why. But another thing on this one is worth mentioning, back to the rear end. The rear end on this car has a factory nodular center section. Yep. Like that. Just to get that glass tucked up underneath there. So, let's see, what else? Yes, front suspension. Little Shop Manufacturing upper control arms. Tubular upper control arms. Again, can't really see it. And I have factory front 1 1/8 sway bar. I added an Adco rear 3/4 inch sway bar. PMT strut rods to replace the factory originals. I also have Little Shop Manufacturing spherical rod bearings for the strut rods on the front. It really makes a nice difference for when you like to drive these cars and drive them hard. A couple things under hood. It's factory hood scoop. I did have to fabricate braces for the hood because all of these hoods suffer fatigue cracks at some point along here. So I built these, and it's got stainless steel hardware and with riv nuts embedded in the steel of the hood to support that hood. Hood springs are okay, but typical fashion on these cars, they're a little bit saggy. Of course, I'm doing this with losing daylight. Get over here in time, but with the Edelbrock, just fires up and idles. And right now at idle, about 45 psi, maybe a little bit higher, but it is a factory gauge in the car. With the cam being a 540 lift, it idles really nice. Doesn't vibrate your teeth out, but kick the air on real quick. manual override switch for the cooling fans right here. Dual Spall 14-inch fans. The lower fan was replaced. We did have issues every once in a while. It likes to trip the breaker for the fan, but then it kicks back on. So, here we go. Do a quick other things. Headlights. Headlights are H4 halogen. They are CD headlights I got out of Canada at some point. French-Canadian driving lights. I do have a set of NOS Sylvania US-made headlights, but I would recommend considering going to a Holley Retrobrite. But yeah, right now it's, you know, the car is built to drive. Just gonna be completely honest. It's something I've owned, worked on, driven for the last probably, well, I've owned it since about 2001. The pinion angle. I will also include the factory 76 rear control arms, but just to give an idea on this car with the rear suspension, just They're moved part number 80090, but I did shorten them and take a coil out just to drop the front end. Rears are replacement springs for, I want to say, 75, 76 Gran Torino. I don't know if they were sedan or what they were, but it's a case of if you want to raise the front end of the car because you don't like it too low. I do have a set of coil springs that if you want to buy them, I can come to a price on that as well. I do have some other pieces of parts that are spares for this car. A couple spare front end grill little pieces and parts. I have some NOS parts for this car as well. If the buyer decides they want them, you know, we can work something out. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And as always, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. And I will put all the specs together for the car and all the specs on the engine and all the other parts on this thing. So kind of go from there. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time.
Have you heard the story of the hot rod race when the Ford and the Lincoln were set in the face? That story is true, I'm here to say, because I was driving a Model A.
All right, so one other thing I forgot is this is the driver's side. It has a hairline crack here on the sail panel. Sorry, I'm doing this at night. I will try and get back in. I can always get more shots during the day. I did take pictures of this, but it's, you know, there's a hairline crack on this quarter, again, from what I believe to be the flexing of the body because of the drivetrain. So, anyways. Just taking pictures of that. And a couple other things. I don't know if I mentioned. This is an NOS Ford wiper motor. I got off of eBay. Cover kit was also NOS. Brake system on this car. One of the other things that I failed to mention earlier, the master cylinder is 7576 for Thunderbird, and then the master cylinder is 1973 Lincoln Mark IV for a factory disc front dual diaphragm setup. But Mark IV, that was came off a 73 Mark IV, and I had it rebuilt by Power Brake Exchange out in California. So other things, I'm just trying to think. A little scatterbrain. POA eliminator kit for the AC system. And I don't know. Power steering lines are built off of 5,500 PSI hydraulic hose. And do run this out to a power steering cooler off of a mid 2000s, I want to say 2006, somewhere in there, Ford F-Series. Fuel system, tank, sending unit. I've been in the car for a number of years. They're still good. Has all SAE 30R9 spec fuel injection 3/8 hose on it. All the hoses replaced. Shocks were also replaced 2022, somewhere in there. Did new shocks for the car, KYB monotubes. At the same time when I did new springs for the car. Front suspension was completely gone through when I did all the new control arms and everything. Control arms were done probably 2021, 22, somewhere in time and frame there. I'll have to get the details together, but front end was completely rebuilt, all new bushings, everything was redone here in the last couple of years. And the car just it drives straight, had it aligned, drives straight, goes down the road good, doesn't wander. Steering box is a Layers Corporation 841. That is a reman box that's been in the car for a number of years, but it's still good, tight, drives good. trying to think if there's any other details, but I don't know. We'll get to that point. Somebody asks me something, I'll figure. I'll probably have something. So, anyways, that's all I got for now. And have a good one.